And what a lovely morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. And it is a good morning. The sun is shining, and it's going to be a beautiful day in the state of Missouri, and hopefully where you are. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning, where talk is real, truth is in the talk, and there is power in truth. Good morning, Melody.
Good morning, and good morning to the listeners out there. It's a lot of things are happening today.
Oh, yeah.
So,
it's going to warm up. Going to warm up this weekend. Yay. We're out of the cold. Anyway, it is Open Mic Friday. Your calls are welcome at 717-300-1218. That's 717-300-1218.
And yes,
almost.
Pardon?
I was going to say we talk about almost anything they want to talk about.
Almost. But, yes, and I encourage the listeners out there, if you haven't called before, please do. We'd love to hear you, and we always love our regular callers. You know we do. And but I'm encouraging to have some new callers on maybe some new topics that perhaps we haven't discussed or you would like to discuss. And I love these days when we get lots and lots and lots of callers. So put us on the spot, if you might, and I'll hand it over to Beth.
Wait a minute now, wait. I'm not ready. Can we pause it for just a moment? Don't you wish you could pause radio like you do TV sometimes? Oh, nothing like throwing it at me. All right. Well, there's lots going on. And what's that?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't mean to interrupt, but I think we have to talk about the elephant in the room today.
Okay, what's the elephant in the room?
Well, the elephant in the room, of course, would be the government shutting down.
No, I was getting to that.
Really?
I was going to get to that. The House passed not to shut the government down, but I haven't heard what the Senate has done or if they have taken a vote yet, because I'm sure they needed to go to bed. They were tired last night. They'd worked so very, very hard. I did. I searched this morning, and I couldn't find where they had voted yet, so I don't think that the House has. And if you know out there, because you're probably on top of it, where we've been studying and doing other things, you give us a call at 717-300-1218. That's 717-300-1218. I get put out with them.
The bill did head to the Senate, and we're still waiting. And it's interesting. This morning as I was listening to, the motion. Oh, why did they take away my... I was looking at the voting, the final vote. Let's see. The House on Thursday night approved a stopgap measure to keep the government open less than 36 hours before a possible shutdown, lifting the drama to the Senate, where Democrats are threatening to block. The final vote was 230 to 197. The Senate is expected to vote on a procedural motion later Thursday to take up the House bill. The vote is expected to be approved, but a follow-up procedure motion to move the bill to a final up or down vote is expected to fail. I don't know. This says House approves spending bill, shifting shutdown drama. So, yeah, I guess there's really no updates on that.
No, and, President Donald Trump is not going to leave until this is over. He was scheduled to go to Florida, I guess. It said President Donald Trump will remain in Washington, D.C. until the Senate passes a short-term spending bill to keep the government open, White House officials tell the press pool. Trump was previously scheduled to depart for his property in Palm Beach, Florida at 4:30, but now does not expect to depart until Saturday morning. The president is throwing a big gala at his vacation property in Florida to celebrate his one-year anniversary as commander-in-chief. And the House Representatives passed a short-term. They passed in, that's what you were just saying. The bill requires 60 votes to pass, with Republicans only guaranteeing 51 yays. Democratic lawmakers have indicated they may shut the government down over the failure to reach an agreement on the future of Obama-era protections for illegal immigrants known as the DACA program. And the president said Thursday a shutdown could happen, and if it were to happen, it would be the fault of the Democrat Party. And I agree. He has bent over backwards with some of this, a little more than I would like him to bend. And they dare get up and say he refuses to negotiate with us. I'm thinking, I think you're the ones refusing to negotiate. But I think it's all a distraction, and it's all, it comes to this every single year. Every single year they come to this same thing, and every single year they've got something they want, and every single year they hold Americans hostage with threats of shutting the government down. And, I'm kind of like some others. I don't care. Shut it down. But they were, and I cannot remember her name. She's from Arizona. She was military herself. I think she was in the Air Force. And she was saying when they do that the military doesn't get paychecks, and I didn't know that. So that kind of changed my little attitude a little bit. I still think it doesn't hurt anybody as far as some of their threats up there, as if something big was going to happen. But our military does need to have their paychecks. Those people, they're not getting that much anyway, and they, so if you're in the military, male or female, and you're overseas or somewhere, your family's not going to get a paycheck if they do this.
Well, this is the fourth continuing resolution that they're going for, and it's really pathetic to even that they've gotten to this point. We have a lot of things that are coming up where they have to extend the debt ceiling come March. They have to continue with the spending bills, the budget, and I mean, it's just, this is just just a sign of what we're going to face in March. Mm-hmm. And March is much more serious, I believe. But what happens also when you have these, when it comes across the Pentagon, it slows a lot of things. We just think about the paychecks and so forth, but also it slows new acquisitions programs. It prevents new startups to programs. It damages readiness. It disrupts planned growth for their programs. They can't do anything during this period of time. And, sometimes being a conservative, fiscal conservative, it's like, well, why is all that so bad, But the continuing resolutions prevents agencies from implementing or continuing a program that didn't have funding in the previous year. The DoD claims, for example, that 75 weapons programs have been delayed by the most recent CR restrictions, and that's according to the U.S. Naval Institute. Even if updates to programs or contracts are already awarded, a CR forces the Pentagon to halt all progress on all those fronts, and the timing and pace of work has changed. These continuing resolutions may put caps on expenditures for programs that tend to spend heavily in the first few months of the year. They also make it more cost-effective bulk buys and multi-year contracts more difficult to execute. The continuing resolutions lead to repetitive contracting when new funding is issued, time and money that could be spent elsewhere and more efficiently. The generals are also report that contingency plans have to be updated more frequently under the continuing resolutions, since the Pentagon has to constantly assess how it will operate in the event of a shutdown. And the amount of wiggle room that we have for the Republicans have for pushing military spending, it really is slim. The tax code overhaul that passed last month is set to raise the deficit by $1.5 trillion over a decade. So there's a lot should be, and again, government spending.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes.
Continue to add to that figure. So, yes, it does put particularly in a time, when we think about the Department of Defense and you have all these, situations with North Korea, with Turkey, with Syria, with all of these, and it really does show, it sort of shows our country as a weakness. It doesn't, it takes away our country of, to me, I believe, when we can't even have politicians do something more than pass continuing resolutions. And and it was interesting. I can't remember his name. I was watching. It was a MSNBC the reason I watched it was a Republican being interviewed. It was on the Morning Joe program, and Willie Geist was asking this. I don't know if he was a senator or a congressman or what I think he was a senator, but I don't recall who he was. And he says the issue, and the question to the senator was, are you going to allow DACA to be passed? But he didn't ask that question. He was saying, are you going to let the DREAM Act be passed? And the senator would say, well, we're all in agreement on DACA, not the DREAM Act. That is a totally separate thing. Mm. And so he says on DACA, yes. And the question, when Willie Geist would come back and say, well, are you willing to let the DREAM Act, the Dreamers, do you agree with approving the Dreamers? And the senator would come back and says, DACA, yes. We also want the other immigration to go with the approval of DACA. Willie Geist would come back and he would say, he must have done this like 4 times, asking the same question, but he wouldn't use DACA. He used the Dreamers. The senator kept saying, hey, there's a difference between DACA and the Dreamers. But they were trying to get the senator to say yes to the Dreamers instead of DACA, which is something totally different. And I'm just thinking, what a bunch of wasted time. And I was surprised that the senator just didn't come back and say, look, you've asked me that question 4 times. The answer is going to be the same. DACA is different than the Dreamers. So let's focus on DACA. And it's just no wonder that there isn't anything that can be done. They're just, either they don't understand the difference, they think it's the same.
Or they're trying to push something else.
Or they're trying to push something else.
On top of DACA. Yeah, which I do not doubt at all. The senator would have came out and said yes to when he was asking about the Dreamers, then that would have put that senator, he would have had to later come back and say, well, no, it's the DACA. Well, you said they're just trying to set them up. And it's just bizarre. It's bizarre. It's pathetic. It's shameless. And but well, we're being lied to all the time. We've talked about that earlier this week, that they just lie to us all the time. And the number, and we're going to get Mike Cutler back on. I'm going to work on that today. I'm going to send him some emails. But, we're told that there's 800,000 immigrants that are protected by the Obama-era deferred action of children, the DACA. But it's estimated that it's really around more like close to 4 million, 3.6 million illegal immigrants. And so, once again, they're saying 800,000, that's not that many. We can take care of that, Melody. But 3.6 million? And they're just going to do this across the board. I mean, it's like you said earlier this week, and I've said before, they have had how many years now to take care of their stance? If they want to be a citizen of the United States, they should have put it in motion. Anybody who has done that and has that in motion, I'm okay with keeping them. But if they've had any kind of a felony, if they've done anything else in this nation, part of a gang, and they need to go. They need to go. And I'm tired of this idiocy, and Democrats are going to be known for standing up for illegal aliens and not standing up for American citizens. Absolutely. And they're trying to change that now. Oh no, it's not about DACA, it's about Obamacare. It's the health care now. And seriously, I hear music. Seriously, it's just they know that they're going down a broken road, and I think they're running scared. Not because of this. This is just what they do. This is part of their thing, their show. This is their showcase, Republicans and Democrats. But what's going on with some of this other stuff, I'm a little hopeful that maybe we will get a few swamp people out. We are listening to Power Talks. We're going into a break. It is Open Mic Friday. Your calls are welcome. We'll talk about almost anything you want to talk about at 717-300-1218. That's 717-300-1218. If you haven't called in a while, or never, give us a holler. We'd love to hear from you. Melody, Beth, will be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. Global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually. There is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them.
Have you seen the Left Behind movies? Have you read the Left Behind fictional book series? Not everyone believes Left Behind is true prophecy. Some may even regard as conspiratorial the mainstream re-release of the Left Behind movie with actor Nicolas Cage portraying the main character as an attempt to further reinforce in the minds of all this perception of false prophecy in order to condition the masses for the play about to begin. Because they see the world stage shaping to fulfill what they have been led to believe is sound biblical interpretation, a left behind rapture scenario, this false view of prophecy is reinforced in the mind, not only of its adherents, but also includes those who have been merely exposed to the specific media. Is it possible that false prophecy can be fulfilled? The rapture theories have always been in dispute. Pre-trib, mid-trib, and post-trib disputes have risen up in exclusively evangelical circles of recent history, so that when true believers don't suddenly disappear, this element will easily go by the wayside when all see a new Jewish temple begin to be built. Will this be part of the great delusion that will come upon the whole earth? It seems that this great prophetic delusion has already overcome practically the entire American evangelical and Christian world. Get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. To learn more, visit crosstheborder.org. That's CROSS, crosstheborder.org.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
You're listening to Power Talks. This is Beth Ann and Melody in the morning. Well, I'm not Melody, I'm Beth Ann, but it's met with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning. It is Friday. We try to open the mic up on Friday if there's nothing huge going on, and since the Senate's sitting there twiddling their thumbs waiting to vote on whether to shut everybody down or not, we're going to go to the phones, and so it is Open Mic Friday. It's 717-300-1218, 717-300-1218. Melody is itching for new callers. So if you have not called before, we want you to... You are itching. She said she was a little grumpy today, too. But she's itching for new callers, so she... 717-300-1218. We have Bill from Arizona. He's not so new, but he's a caller. How are you, Bill?
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Fine, sir.
I do not know anybody in the military. I've got a heck of a side tone echo there. I don't know anybody in the military that could tell me whether or not their pay is withheld, but I am on Social Security, and I know already from talking to a large number of Social Security recipients like myself that Social Security can be counted on to come on time because of the fact that it is from a different funding stream than payroll is for the federal government.
Right.
Now then, given the fact that I was forced to take direct deposit without any option when I went on Social Security about a year ago, I would have to assume that everybody that works for the federal government is probably pretty much on direct deposit. In fact, I really doubt that anybody in the government can even get a paycheck any more than I can get a paycheck. Everybody's on direct deposit because they're trying to get everything into the banks. They're trying to get it into the banks without cash. They're trying to get it into a situation where basically it's the zeros and ones that go over a computer into the bank, and then zeros and ones that come out of the computer and go to everywhere else. That all given the case, I don't really seriously think that even if their pay is held up because of a government shutdown, we already know from experience that they will get their pay when the government starts back up again. They don't lose their pay; it's just being delayed. But
yeah, I understand that.
Of course, they don't want to call it that, because if they call it that, that's recognizing reality, and they don't want us to deal with reality. They want us to deal with the fantasy world that they want us to live in because of what they want us to live in. Okay.
I see the. Okay, hold on a minute. Let me talk too, Bill. I see the military totally different from, say, somebody that just works for one of the departments of bureaucrats. You know, I see that totally different. I don't worry about them missing their paycheck. But if it's a military person missing a paycheck, I get a little upset about that. And the only reason that I bring that up is because the person that I heard talking about it last night, I don't know if she's a representative or senator, but I know she was from Arizona, and since they've got, you know, Flake and that other guy, you know, that I think she was probably a representative, but she was talking about it because she was military, and she said that is what happens. Now, even if it's an electronic thing, somebody has to be in charge of it. So I don't know for positive, but I believed what she was telling me, and, you know, other than that, I really don't care if they shut down. But I do want our military people taken care of, because I think of somebody being overseas and their family here, and yeah, they're going to get their paycheck later down the line, but what about the phone bill that's due now, or the electricity, or the gas bill, or the heat, or what about the groceries that are due now with them here with kiddos and such? And so that was something that was, you know, kind of bothered me a little bit when she was talking about that. Now go ahead, Bill.
Okay, now then, let's say that regardless of all of this, your money actually does go to the bank. The problem becomes whether or not the bank is shut down or not. And today is going to come 70% of transactions made by consumers in the United States are made with plastic, with either debit cards or credit cards or EBTs and all of this other stuff. And that's 70%. If the money is not in the bank, or if the bank is shut down, that money is not available if the banks close down. It doesn't matter if you've got FDIC and NCUA in there or not, which is something I want to deal with in just a minute. But the thing is that and there's a guy named Bill. I can't even think of his name just right now. But he's the president of Agora. And Agora has been around for longer than a lot of federal agencies. He's been around for 30 years now, predicting financial stuff. And he put out a brilliant video some time back that unfortunately he's taken down there, where it opens up, and a guy's standing at an ATM, and he pushes his card in, and he doesn't even talk to him. It just pushes his card back out to him. He does that 3 times. Then it cuts around, it turns around to changes scene to across the aisle. He's standing at an ATM across the aisle from a checkout stand in a grocery store. His groceries are in his cart, bagged up, ready to go, plugged up and ready to go. That's when we find out that his card has already been declined 3 times by the point of sale machine. He basically apologizes to the cashier. He walks out of the grocery store. He picks up his phone, he dials the bank, and he gets a recording of a voicemail at the bank telling him to call that same number if he has any questions. The bank is closed until further notice. He drives to the bank, and the same thing. There's a picture, there's a letter on the tape to the window, and the bank is closed up and locked. Closing The closing scene in this video is he pulls his wallet out, opens it up, and he has 6 $1 bills in there. That is all the money he has on the planet that he will get a hold of until the bank is open again. And people don't understand that that will happen someday. And when that happens, anything that you have in the bank is, as federal law specifies, when you deposit something to a bank, by federal law, you are loaning it to the bank.
You're absolutely correct, and we always have a bad connection with you, Bill, and I don't know what it is, but I mean you're absolutely correct, and it was even earlier this week where Wells Fargo had a computer glitch in their system to where it showed zero balances in people's accounts, and you know they don't easily give it back to you. And that's the problem. You will have to fight for it for the most time in the scenario in which you were describing. So, Beth, did you have anything to add to that? Because I do want to talk about, because there's this big issue about who gets paid and who doesn't get paid, and I have something here, and this is in reference to also the military.
No, let's hear what you've got. Because I was just
Thank
going
you,
off
Bill.
of what this, yes, thank you, Bill, what this representative or whatever she was, congressman from Arizona was talking last night.
The Department of Defense released a 2015 contingency plan for a possibility of a shutdown. So they've been planning since 2015. For the shutdown.
Well, you know, we always say be prepared, right?
The plan lays out what positions would work if the government runs out of money. These positions include jobs needed for the safety of human life or protection of property, like civilians who operate and assess intelligence data. Other positions that won't be furloughed are those working in the medical and dental care field and those working in acquisition and logistics for essential operations. Those working in logistics at central receiving points for supplies purchased before the shutdown will stay on duty until they are no longer needed. Education and training positions are mostly exempted from a shutdown, as are those working on legal activities for essential activities. DoD employees who work in mess halls and child care activities will report to work as long as those working with the management of funds for essential as will those working with the management of funds for essential services. Okay, there's also a wild card option. Any activities funded with unobligated and unexpired balances will keep their employees on duty. That means if the account that funds your department still has money, you'll report to work. Let's see. Let me see if I can bring this down to the military. Okay, here's what you're saying. Those in the military won't be paid unless Congress can come up with some sort of exemption. In 2013, Congress passed a bill that provided money for the continued pay of the military through the shutdown. After 5 days of interpretation, the Justice Department lawyers decided that bill extended to a majority of furloughed civilians, which brought them back to work and paid them as well. During that time, paycheck processing pretty much stayed the same. However, there is no guarantee Congress will pass a bill to pay the military this time around.
Well, you know they're not going to. Well, if they're going to shut it down, you know they're not going to pass that because the Democrats. That's what they're doing. But that's what they're doing to hold this hostage. They're saying, "You don't do this, we're not going to do that." So you know they don't want to.
They did the same thing in 2013.
Okay.
You know, but Congress passed the bill in 2013 that allowed them to be paid. So will Congress pass a bill this time around? Most likely.
Let's rephrase that. They allowed them to be paid on time because they're all going to get paid eventually.
They continued to be paid through the shutdown.
Right. That's what I meant. They allowed them to continue to be paid on time, while the others would not be. Their checks would be withheld, and of course they all get that then later, which is just crazy. But
we're just talking about the military. We're talking about the military. But then even so, if some of these departments have money in their accounts, people keep working, as I said. So until government, quote unquote, until the government actually shuts down,
that's great.
And what's released, who and what gets paid. You know, it's, but just for that woman last night, I mean, to some degree, she is correct. they don't get paid. But if Congress comes up with some sort of exception, in which they did in 2013, money will be provided for the continued pay of the military through
and that
the
might have been
shutdown.
what she was actually, I only caught a part of what she was saying, but that might have been actually what she was after. If they're going to do this, she didn't want them to shut it down. She was really going after them for what they were. And basically, you know, it's what you and I said. They're holding Americans hostage. Congress has been doing this for a long time. I'm not going to just blame the Democrats. The Republicans have done it too. You know, they want this or they want that. They're not talking about what we the people want. Or if they did, they'd be talking about the wall, because we the people want national security. If they did, they'd stop funding abortions, because then the majority of American people don't want abortions. It's not about what the American people want. It's about what Congress wants. It's what they're getting paid for when they do their deal cutting. DC occupied.
And you know what? They're probably
cut deals.
and there probably is negotiations even on the wall, because there's other parts of the immigration problems that have to be addressed, like the lottery and everything else.
Right.
And but no one's even addressing or attempting to address these other issues. They've been so focused on one thing, the wall. You know, maybe if you give a little bit of take in the lottery and, you know, and adopt that, well, you know, maybe we don't need the $20 billion right away for the wall. Just give us, instead of $1.5 billion, well, maybe give us 5 or 10. That's what negotiations are about, and they're not doing anything.
Well, and you know, when President Trump had them all in his office, or all at the White House or whatever the other day, a week or so ago, you know, that's what he told them. He was willing to compromise, but he wants this, this, and this. And one of those was he wants the lottery stopped. He wanted a wall, and he wanted something else. What's the other one? Not the lottery. There's another one. There's another immigration thing that he wanted to be put to an end to. But they're not willing to do that. They want what they want, and the rest of, you know, his compromise is to give them what they want.
They're not even willing to negotiate on it.
That's what I'm saying. They're not willing to, but he was.
Yeah.
In fact, the American people, whoa, we don't want you to cave in. You know, everybody was worried he was going to cave.
What he said was bring me something and I'll sign it. He really didn't specify what he wanted. He just says bring me any deal and I'll sign it.
But he did say it needs to include this, this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they brought it to him, lovely Lindsay, it wasn't. It included all those, but it was boosting them all up. It wasn't taking them all down. And Lindsay's still convinced he did the right thing. So Lindsey Graham, he's kooky. But
they're all a bunch of idiots. But
yeah, don't hold back. Tell how you feel.
Well, you know, it's. But the good news is it's great for gold. It's great for gold.
It's all about the money, isn't it? I'm just kidding.
It certainly is. And we are running a special today. I only have a limited supply. I mean, if you want 100 gold 1-ounce Buffalo coins minted by the U.S. Treasury or the U.S. Mint, I mean, I can get you 100 of them. But I have 8 of them at a very special price that they're only $45 over the spot price of gold. And you can't ever find gold buffaloes in brilliant uncirculated condition at $45 over spot. So that's an incredible buy. I have 8 of them at that price. You can buy one, you can buy all 8, and at that price, if you buy one, we will have to include shipping, but if you buy all 2 or more, we'll include the shipping costs for you. And today's price at $45 over, they would run at $1,380. The regular price on these coins would be $1,400, so you're getting $20 an ounce savings on these coins. So that is an incredible buy for these coins. Give us a call at 1-800.
So you said 8 of them for how much?
$1,380.
Okay,
each.
That's 8 of them.
Each.
Okay.
Each.
Okay. I thought that's what it was, but you were confusing me. I get confused easily.
They're $1,380 each. You can buy 1 or 8. If you purchase 1, there would be shipping attached to the cost. But if you purchase 2 or more, there is free shipping. Is that a little clear? And you can call Discount Gold and Silver at 1-800-375-4188. That's 1-800-375-4188. And, of course, again, if you want 100 of them, we have those in stock, too. But at this special price, we have 8 at $1,380 each.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Sounds pretty. Buffalo Gold. Buffalo Gold.
Everybody loves those buffaloes, and they're beautiful coins. They're 24 karat gold. Unlike the American Gold Eagle, they're 22 karat. So you have a little bit purer gold. It's a little bit softer, and so you do have to take good care of them because you can easily scratch them. Even your 22 karat gold eagles, gold is very soft, and you can scratch them very easily. So please take care of your coins, and particularly if you sell any to me and you ship them. I got some coins in yesterday. I don't know how they were shipped, but you can hear them jiggling around in the box. And when you have gold jiggling around in the box, it scratches the coins. So if I lock in a price for you, I expect them to get to me in the same condition in which I sent them. And that's a brilliant uncirculated condition. But if they come to me scratched because they were jiggling around in the box, I have to reduce your price because I can't sell that to my customers. I have to sell them at a lower price because they're damaged. You get a scratch if they're damaged. So be very careful with your coins when you own them. Protect them.
I was going to ask you, how do you recommend do you recommend a certain way to store them, to keep them?
Well, we ship them. If you purchase volumes of them, they'll come in tubes and everything. If you purchase one or two, they come in protected flips. But it's all a matter of keeping them dry, keeping them, so they don't get damaged with, you don't want to put them in your pockets, and walk around with them. So it's you care for them just like you would, anything else of value. You have a Rembrandt, you're not going to throw it in your garage or in the storage shed. You're going to protect it. That's the same thing. You want to protect your gold and your silver. This is your money. You don't want to clean it. And some of these silver coins and circulated 90% silver, people want to clean them because they're circulated. Well, you don't want to clean your coins. It makes a difference in price when you go to sell them back into the market. So, again, just keep them dry. And keep them protected so they don't get scratched and nicked. If you nick a gold coin, that means you have less than an ounce of gold. You got a nick in there. You got something, it's not a full troy ounce. So these are things, you'd be surprised at how I receive some coins sometimes. The way that they're shipped and tape all over them. It's just, this is real money. This is real money. So you'd want to protect them the same way you would protect, 5,000, $100 bills or whatever. So.
All right.
What's next?
That's next. Well, I'm going to back up because I couldn't think of the other term, and it's the lotto and it's the chain migration. That's what they were. That's what he said. Yeah. He needed He needed both of those to go. He wanted it to include money for the wall, and he wanted. And then he would compromise on DACA. But those are the things that he was wanting. And so he told him to come up with something, and he'd sign it. But what they came up with was the opposite of what he said. So, okay, that was just backing up. But I'm excited about your package. And I'm always, because you're in a field I am totally, I'm growing. You're helping me. But I've been totally ignorant of it. I've not been involved in the gold and silver and the coin industry, and so it's something that I learn every time I talk to you about it. So,
good. Yeah. And all focus has been on the stock market, and this is great. A 31% gain during Trump's administration since he's become president. This is the best since FDR. Valuations grow by $6.9 trillion. The stock market isn't our economy. The stock market isn't our country. It's not our nation. It's not America. And so, and I always go to, let's look at Venezuela. They're having record stock market highs. and yet they're close to a civil war. So you see the separation a little bit more so in the problems that Venezuela is having. India is the same way. They're having, major problems, but their stock markets are going higher. So it is not a sign of what is happening within this country, and or the problems that we have, like our monetary system. And so just keep that in mind as you see these higher prices, the higher prices at the stock market. I think what we're experiencing is more inflation than the true fundamentals. You have these corporations that their earnings, they're bragging about how great these earnings are. Well, we have a weaker dollar, and that helps their earnings look better. So again, it's just and that was why they weren't showing such great earnings, because the dollar was so strong. So there's a lot of reasons why these multinational corporations, governments like weak dollars, they can make things look like it's a little bit better than what it really is. But yet your purchasing power takes more of those dollars to buy something, so it becomes more and more expensive. And I'm going to go back to Venezuela, and I'm going to go back to Bill's his phone call this morning. Is Venezuela is having record stock market highs, but you can't get a dollar out of their ATMs. They can't get a dollar. So, total disconnect from the reality of what happens within a country to the stock market. So, and their interest rates are what, 21% or something like that, I believe. So they're, and it isn't over for that country. And it used to be one of the wealthiest countries. And
it has all the natural resources. There's no reason other than bad leadership, poor dictator leadership. We have Kevin from Ohio. Kevin, how are you today? Socialism, exactly. Kevin, how are you today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Fine. How are you, Lee?
I'm good.
Good. You sound perky. The way Melody's talking about Venezuela right now, she said, when she started to talk about it, she said, I'll go back to Venezuela, and I'll go back here on thoughts, but I hope you don't go to Venezuela.
Let's stay here. Stay here.
Yeah, stay here.
Don't be literal.
And it.
Thank you, Kevin.
I've never been there, but I'm not going
Is that why you called in to?
Hang on, Kevin. Don't hang up, because we're going into a break. You hang on. Thank you. He gives us a chuckle when he calls. Appreciate that, Kevin, because we need to lighten up sometimes.
He always picks on me.
Well, that's why I like him so much. We're going into a break. Your calls are welcome at 717-300-1218, 717-300-1218. Melody, Beth Ann, and Kevin will be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased. It has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188. The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the Internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening. Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
And we have returned. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann and Kevin. We have Kevin on the line. He was calling us, and he was telling Melody, don't go back to Venezuela. Kevin, what's on your mind today?
Well, one, I've mentioned this story to you once, Melody, back about 2001, I had a situation where I invested a few $1,000s in some 1-ounce coins from her I bought. And they were about $320 or $325. When they reached the high point, gold reached its high point, I sold those for a couple of those for $1,770 a piece. And it was the money I needed to arrange for my wife to go back, to go to Belarus to get treatments for an illness.
Oh, yeah.
And it really came in handy. And when I sold those to that guy for $1,770 a piece, he'd been in business for 50 years, and he said it was the highest he ever paid for a gold coin. I said it's a record for him.
That was in 2001?
That's when I bought them from Melody.
Oh, okay. You bought them in 2001.
I sold, but when they reached their height, when was that, Melody? 2010 or 9? When gold reached its peak?
It was 2011 when it actually was close up there to 1900, I believe.
Yeah. But there's two stories about gold in the news recently. One about all the supply of gold coming from South America, drug cartels. It's a better investment for them to invest in a kilo of gold than it is for a kilo of cocaine or other drugs. And they're financing the gold mining with the drug money. Then they can launder it easily in Miami. It's just a horrible story. It's good read about how they're producing the gold in illegal mines in South America using mercury, really bad treatment of the resource, the area, and polluting it with mercury. And then the second article was there are record sales of gold over the internet recently. So I thought those are topical. I thought you might comment on one of those.
Okay. Melody?
Well, the EPA, the environmentalists, are always after the miners and so forth. We see it everywhere because they feel they're, but sometimes you have to, I believe arsenic is used to a small degree, and there was a big fight, I remember, in Alaska. I think it was the Coeur d'Alene mines. The environmentalists had shut down their mining operations up there in Alaska. I can't remember what little town and so forth. And this probably goes back to 2008, 2009, somewhere around in there. And the courts courts did rule in the favor of the miners, so they were able to start, but their issue was they were using, too much. It was just destroying the water, and that's what they always go after and so forth. But so you can, and I don't know about the illegal, mining and so forth, and, using mercury and whatnot. But, there are some chemicals that are needed in order to do so. So, again, I don't think regulations in a lot of other places are as strict as they are here in the States. So, and as far as the record sales, I'm not sure where you read that or who produced it and so forth and whatnot, but usually you can, there's you can go to the U.S. Mint, you can look up to see how many they've silver eagles and gold eagles that they've sold on a weekly basis, and that really gives you an idea of what, certainly you could buy gold and silver in the secondary market as I do, and that wouldn't come into play with the numbers that they're released and so forth, but lots of times I can see it in my prices in my pre-33 coins. I know if the industry, if the country is buying and who's buying and who's not buying and so forth, but I did see a report, and I thought it was a good report, where your countries, your Russia, your China, your India, and a couple of other countries are still continuing to add a lot of gold holdings to their reserves. And so I think that's important also. The central banks are continuing to buy gold. And I think that is important. So, what's happening here in the States and the online sales, pricing online for gold and silver certainly isn't better. I think the pricing is some places are higher, some are lower. Half the time you don't even know who these people are. I wouldn't buy an ounce of gold from online or an ounce of silver online. Not when you have the continued hacking, the privacy issues. Are you kidding me?
That's getting bad, isn't it?
Why, and that's one of the reasons why you buy gold and silver is for the privacy. So why don't you just tell the whole world online that what you're buying and that could be tracked. So there's a lot of reasons I wouldn't buy gold and silver online, and of course I do believe I always provide better service and better prices and so forth. We still do business the old-fashioned way, and but we are trying to address the online issues and so forth. But just because there's more T-shirts sold online doesn't mean that there's more gold and silver online either. So I don't know.
And when you call 1-800-375-4188, you actually get a person.
I just thought it was interesting. There's such an interest now in gold in the total market scheme versus physical gold, and I think it's coming back.
Well, as we see the prices rise, you can't deny that gold has had the best performance of any asset class since the last rate hike in December. And this is when we're seeing, major moves in some of these paper markets. That will bring attention to gold. And I think just the mere fact that the markets are where they are and we're having our, you might say the government is shut down over immigration, but there's a lot to it. There's a lot more involving our spending and our finances. It's just being covered up with immigration. And we still got the deficits. True. We have the debt ceiling. Yeah, they don't have to talk about money because everybody's talking about immigration. It's just, and again, distractions, and both parties are attuned to it.
It's a repeat all the time. Yep. They're never going to do the real job.
No. Different faces. That's all.
Yeah. Thank you.
But the minds are the same. Different faces, but the thinking is the same. And but our big problem is financial. Our big problem is our debt. So thank you, Kevin.
Appreciate appreciate it, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do, Kevin. Appreciate it so very, very much. You know, he listens to both shows, so we're both familiar with Kevin. He's a good guy. We're just about out of time.
I know. He always gets on my case too, and at first, but you know what?
You pick on the ones you love. You know how that is.
He makes me chuckle, and that's great. I love it. Thank you, Kevin.
You want to give your special again, because we're about out of time. I thought maybe you ought to just run that one more time.
No, not really. $1,380. $1,380 for a 1 ounce American gold buffalo coin. It's 24 karat gold. I have 8 at a very special price at this $1,380. The regular price would be $1,400. So you're having a $20 savings per ounce, and that's an incredible. $20 is a lot when it comes to American gold buffaloes. You can buy 1 or 8. And, of course, if you want 100, we can supply that, too, but not at this special low price. We'll still get a good price, but not the $1,380. So give us a call at 1-800-375-4188.
All right. You know, it's already Friday. It's been a full week, it seems like. We actually put a full week in this week. We've had so many holidays and everything. Of course, everybody else does bad. New Year's has been over a while. We're in the 19th. It's on the 19th day of January. We're already more than halfway through January, and I can't believe how fast the year's going already. And they say that's a sign of age, I guess, because the years slip by so much faster and faster. And Melody, this is our number 114th show together on
That
Power
is
Talk.
really incredible.
I keep track. I keep track every day, and we've grown to be good friends. At first, we didn't really know each other that well when she started on CSC Talk Radio. I didn't really know each other that well to do a show together, and we've been learning, and we've become really good friends, even though we have never met face to face. It's been a privilege, Melody. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It is a privilege being with you. And the 200th show, we'll have a party.
Hey, it's coming up. Hey, I'm going to plan. I'm going to hold you to that, Mom. I'm going to hold you to that.
All right,
the music was playing free, and we hope that you have a wonderful weekend. I know it's supposed to warm up here in the heartland where it's been so cold all week. We're supposed to get a warm up. I hope you do too, Melody. I hope you get a warm up. And I know you've had warmer weather than weekend. Yeah. Anyway.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn, the Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.